Hello and welcome to the All Things Arsenal podcast. So we're talking about all things Arsenal. Today on the podcast we're talking about one particular topic, and that is about Granit Xhaka. So there hasn't really been much transfer news with us recently. We've had some speculation about James Maddison, Aouar and Lautaro Martinez. But the one thing that we know pretty much for sure is that Granit Xhaka has put pen to paper on a new contract that will keep him until 2025, a new 4-year deal for the midfielder. And for me, I have mixed views about it, because a player who clearly has quality, and he's a leader as well in the dressing room, but also a player who tends to lose his head a little bit in the past, where he's told the fans where to go at the Emirates, and also a player when we had a really bad run last season, where we needed leadership, where we needed guidance, a player that completely lost his head in the game against Burnley at the Emirates when he got sent off. So for me, he's a good player, he's a good leader, but for me, he's a bit of a liability at times. You just don't really know what you're going to get with him sometimes. So I mean, I'm not sure how I feel about the new deal, but I think obviously with Partey being out injured for the first few games, it'll be good to have him in the squad, Granit Xhaka. Because with Thomas Partey, I mean, before he came to us, he seemed to be quite reliable, didn't really seem to ever get injured, but last season he had, 3 or 4 injuries? Now he's got another one, so he clearly is a bit unreliable all of a sudden with us, with injuries. And we can't be relying too much on certain players to be fit the whole season. So I guess it's good to have the rotation option with him, Thomas Partey, Granit Xhaka. You've got El Neni as well, who's quite reliable. You've also got the likes of Joe Willock, who's knocking around. And of course our new signing, Lokonga. So, we'll see how things pan out in midfield, because there is rumblings that Willock still might be going out to Newcastle on a permanent deal. And the other thing to think about as well with Thomas Partey is the fact that the African Cup of Nations is coming up next year. Normally that runs between January to February. So in that time, we probably won't have Thomas Partey because he'll be playing for Ghana. So if you think about it, it might be, a good thing that we'll have Xhaka then as well, because when Thomas Partey's gone, we're going to be light in midfield. And Xhaka is also a player who, last season we all know was a really bad season. But what you can say about Xhaka is that he was one of the best of a bad bunch. After the Burnley game, he did seem to up his game. His performances were a lot better. He performed really well in the Euros as well with Switzerland. So, there's no doubt that he's a good player. But I just hope that he doesn't make any sort of, not even mistakes, because mistakes happen, but I just hope he doesn't do anything like really unnecessary like what he's done in seasons gone by, because he did cost us a few times in the past few seasons, and he has caused a massive divide in the fan base. I've never known, players like him who've caused so much of a divide. He's a bit like Marmite, you either love him or you hate him with the fans. But yeah, hopefully Xhaka will play the whole of next season like he did the back end of last season, and also in the Euros, because we've got a good player on our hands. And when Roma were talking about signing him for 15 to 20 million pounds, I thought, we bought him, well, first of all, bought him 35 million pounds, 5 years ago. And I don't know, I think 20 million pounds, is that enough for Granit Xhaka? I don't think so. I think we could probably get more for him, especially after the Euros that he had. So I'm kind of glad we're not selling him just for 20 million pounds. If we sold him for a bit more than that, then, we might have something else to think about. But 20 million pounds, no, I think he's worth more than that. So I'd rather have him sign a new contract than let him go for 20 million pounds. Thank you for listening to this podcast, and hopefully we'll have some transfers in to talk about very, very soon. If you did like this video, please like, please subscribe, and please comment. And hopefully this weekend we'll win the North London derby, the friendly. And then next week, of course, we all know the season is starting. Come on, Arsenal.